right, guys, what's up, man? We are back. This is the Fantasy Countdown Show, sponsored and brought to you by Project Spurs as well as DraftKings. Joining myself today is Trey Collis, Coach Geo, and the new guy to the show, Will Haverland. We're talking some fantasy football. Last week we talked about running backs and we talked about the tight end list. This week we're getting into probably the meat and potatoes here. Definitely going to talk about quarterbacks and wide receivers as well. So, quarterbacks is probably going to be one of those. I don't know. Once you get to the bottom of the list, it's going to be a little tougher. On the list, you'll see the list will be compromised here. It's basically over ESPN, NFL.com, CBS Sports, basically. So I took all the rankings for everybody and kind of just got the average ranking for everyone. Let me go around the horn real quick here. We'll start with Trey. Trey, as far as quarterbacks go, is there a quarterback out there outside of like Mahomes, Jackson, Josh Allen, those guys? Is there that quarterback out there that people just got to have? This might be a little bit of a surprise that he's dropping, but you just got to have him.
Oh, man. I would keep my eye out. Who I would want would probably be Justin Herbert this year. He had a great rookie year. I know we have a sophomore slump and everything, but he looked like the real deal last year. Look, he has everything. He has a strong arm strength. He has the accuracy. He has the weapons around him with the Chargers. I know there's a lot of sophomore slumps going on in the past few years because you get videotape on the guy and you start knowing what his intangibles are and everything like that. So, but I think Justin Herbert's the real deal. I think I said it when he came out of Oregon. I think if he just puts himself in the right situation with all the weapons, he has he has Williams, he has a running game, he has a defense behind him as well. I think that he can really surprise some people and probably be in the top 3, top 5 in the fantasy football league this year.
Yeah, I mean Herbert could be one of those guys that can definitely light up. Probably get into the top 5. I think as far as quarterback play goes. Gio, as far as quarterback play, man, it's kind of surprising. I talked to Will before the show a little bit. He was kind of surprised to see 2 rookies on the list that we've got. Justin Fields more than likely is going to be the starter. The one that kind of questioned us a little bit more was the Trey Lance ranking. Can Trey really take over for Jimmy G this early in the season?
I can't hear him.
Oh, you got to turn your mic on, bro, or it might be off. It happens. Not yet. We'll go to Will real quick here. Just having a little bit of technical difficulty. Will, talking to earlier about the rookies here. Is there a rookie not on the list that we could see? I mean, you're looking at a Zach Wilson probably that is probably going to be the starter in New York, but can Zach Wilson or maybe another rookie shine this year for quarterbacks that we may be overlooking?
I mean, outside of maybe Trevor Lawrence, he's got some weapons, but I don't know if he's going to play the whole year. I think they might hold back on him and keep Gardner Minshew in just to save him because they don't want to ruin Lawrence.
Yeah,
there's not a whole lot of rookies out there. I mean, Zach Wilson's going to play, but he's got no weapons, in my opinion.
Yeah, the thing is with Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's going to be obviously the number 1 guy in Jacksonville. But I mean, his offensive line is terrible. He's going to be running probably for his life in there. Travis Etienne and James Robinson in his backfield. It's not a whole lot to look forward to when it comes to Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. So, I'll be honest, guys. I kind of like Zach Wilson right now. I mean, I think he's gonna be a really good QB. I think he still has a lot to learn, but not as far as him being drafted. I would say inside the top 25. Like, I don't see that happening. But you can probably take maybe a late season flyer on him. I mean, might be a guy that's turning it up towards the very end. Let's see if we got Gio back. Gio, you back?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
I think I had my Zoom on for my work meeting. But anywho, Trey Lance, I don't quite think sometime this year he's going to start for Jimmy G. But to put him in fantasy contention, I get it, right? He can run, he can throw, he can do just about a dual threat. I just think it's too early to tell Similar to how Rudy had that one tight end from the Saints from his list last week that I was like,
I like how you make me the
I don't
bad
know
guy.
about that, but anywho, Trey Lance, not yet. I like Ryan Tannehill a lot this season. I've liked him the past few years. He's finished within the top 10 in the past, I believe, 2 or 3 years in fantasy football. Derrick Henry's running the football, and now he has Julio Jones back there. I think an offense that's going to sling it around. So Ryan Tannehill is one of the guys. I mean, Matthew Stafford with the Rams. I mean, there's so many other guys that you can draft in the later rounds. They obviously don't have rushing. That's kind of the key thing. That's why Allen, Lamar Jackson, and even Patrick Mahomes, they do so much with their legs. They can get out that points for quarterbacks is kind of a premium, but you can definitely wait. There's guys at the end there. There's going to be someone that jumps in that probably cracks into the top 10 that we probably don't know just yet, but there are a ton of just really good quarterbacks this season.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's unveil the quarterback ranking list that we've got here. Again, we are giving you the best possible advice when it comes to fantasy. Like we said, the Fantasy Countdown, where we make fantasy wins a reality. Brought to you by DraftKings and Project Spurs. Quarterback list is out. Let's go ahead and go through this list here. We're showing obviously Patrick Mahomes, number 1 from Kansas City. Josh Allen 2, Kyler Murray 3, Lamar Jackson 4. Rounding out top 5 is Dak Prescott. That Dak Prescott right there at 5 could it be concerning because of the news that we've got yesterday from one Adam Schefter saying that he's going to have these lingering injuries all season. It might persuade people not to take Dak Prescott in the drafts. He might fall a little bit lower. I really don't think that we're going to have issues with Dak Prescott. I think his ranking at number 5 is pretty steady. He's going to have a really good year. I know he's probably going to have some injuries, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to linger with him like in a major way over the season. One guy that really, stood out to me here, and I want to go right to it, and we'll probably just go to Trey first here. Since Trey's an NFL East guy, NFC East guy, number 11, Jalen Hurts. I don't know Jalen being at 11 was too high for him. I mean, maybe he should be right around the 14-15 range, but expectation for Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia this season, I mean, you've got, Devontae Smith, you've got a couple of weapons there. I just can't see him staying steady right there, right around the top 10.
Yeah, you're totally right, Rudy. Jalen Hurts should not even be in the top 10. Honestly, he probably shouldn't be in the top 15, to be straight up honest with ourselves. Maybe number 15, but that offensive line, he's going to be scrambling for his life. He doesn't have a very good offensive line. Like you said, he's reconnected with his wide receiver from Alabama. Maybe that could help him out a little bit, but I'm not totally sold. This offensive line will not give him time. He's wildly inaccurate last year a little bit. He showed glimpses of greatness, but I just haven't seen enough of him. But I just don't think that Philadelphia team is very good. I don't think that he's going to stand out as one of the best top 15 QBs in the NFL this year. I just don't think he has that much weapons. It's a rebuilding year in Philadelphia. I would sell on Jalen Hurts, totally be honest with you, because I just don't think he has the weapons, and I don't think that he's going to have enough time to do anything, and I think he's going to be sacked a lot as well this year.
Yeah, man, I didn't have really much on Jalen Hurts. I mean, as far as him being that close to the top 10, I'm not quite sure why the rankings were coming out like that, but it is an overall rankings.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's not number 11. These ones that are behind him, maybe even Matt Ryan, it's the only one I could think of that's maybe, but I think Matt Ryan's going to have a bounce back year this year too. But Jalen Hurts for number 11, I don't understand that whatsoever. It's a rebuilding year.
Feel good about Matt Ryan.
Rudy, I'm trying to make you feel really good about the Atlanta Falcons this year.
Rudy never likes Matt Ryan. This doesn't even matter.
I mean, it's got to be based on the rushing and the broken plays for positive yards, right? That's why Jalen Hurts has got to be 11. It's got to be the rushing aspect of it.
I mean,
yeah,
got the dual threat in Jalen Hurts, but still, I mean, I would say Matt Ryan should be ranked a little bit higher. Even though I'm not high on him all the time, he should be ranked a little bit higher. Obviously, I think he should be ranked higher than Jalen Hurts. The Joe Burrow at 12 is another one because that offensive line isn't anything that's going to be to write home about. But you've got T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd. You've got a dynamic receiving core. So Joe Burrow at 12, can we see Joe Burrow finish in the top 10 on the fantasy rankings for quarterback by the end of the season?
I think so. I mean, he was playing fairly well, and obviously not super consistent. The offensive line was it was terrible. I mean, it was flat out horrible. Joe Mixon couldn't even get any lanes. But Joe Burrow coming back, 3 wide receivers, a team that did improve the offensive line. Like, yeah, we don't, they didn't get any top picks, but they did get some free agents. They did get some guy in the second round. I think he has a great opportunity here because they're going to be down in a lot of games. They're going to be slinging it around. You got 3 really good receivers. Actually, was it 1, 2? Yeah, 3 or 4 good ones there. So I think the sky's the limit for Joe Burrow. It's going to be interesting how he comes back from that injury, though. So kind of give him a few weeks. But, I mean, Higgins and Tyler Boyd were playing very well in fantasy last season before he got hurt.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, Will, we had a rookie, like we talked about a little while ago, crack the top 15, Trevor Lawrence. We really can't expect Trevor to finish any higher than maybe the 15th ranking that he's getting. He's got some weapons. I mean, we're not going to lie. Travis Etienne there, James Robinson in the backfield, DJ Chark, Levski Shenault over there as well. There are some weapons. They're going to score a few points, but yeah, we can't expect much from Trevor Lawrence. There's no way that people can just go out there and draft a Trevor Lawrence, super early. But I have seen it in some drafts that I've been watching on other networks. I've seen Trevor Lawrence go, and Trey might give me a smile because I saw a draft last night on the Coast to Coast network. But Trevor Lawrence, I mean, this is a guy that we cannot target early in any of these drafts, right?
I don't think so. I think he's going to be a mid to late round draft. I think he's going to be a solid backup bye week quarterback. I think it just depends on what Urban Meyer is going to do. We all know James Robinson's got to be the number 1 running back, but rookie camp, everything, they had Travis Etienne running wide receiver routes. Is he going to play a lot of wide receiver? Is he going to be out there as a security blanket with James Robinson to put all the players on the field like in college? Put your best players on the field? Is that what Urban's doing? I think by the end of the season, I think Trevor Lawrence might be a solid play, but that's a long ways away.
Yeah, I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence is probably not going to be a guy that I'm targeting, and probably neither one of us is going to target pretty early in the draft. The only last guy that I want to talk about here is Tom Brady. Tom freaking Brady. And I want to bring him up because I think, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, I think he finishes within the top 5 this season.
Wow.
I'm going to say he's going to get a top 5 ranking from me. No disrespect to, the guys in front of him, but I see one guy in the top 5, and, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, but I don't say Lamar a top 5 QB at the end of the season.
Wait, do you mean really fantasy QB or just QB?
Fantasy QB. I don't see him as a top 5.
Brady, the guy rushes. He has like 2 touchdowns rushing a game.
Yes. Yes. I'm not saying he's going to fall. I'm not going to say he's falling in the top 10. I mean, I'm saying I think he finishes right outside the top 5. I think Brady's going to put up some numbers like similar to past Brady. I'm talking, we're going to probably see some really big numbers out of Tom Brady.
Man, you're really going in on hard for Tom Brady this year.
I've never gone in hard on Tom Brady ever. And this is the one season. This is his swan song, man. I think he's going to leave after this season.
Well,
he's done.
Well, I think after week 1, after they play the great Dallas Cowboy defense, he's going to be in the top 5. I mean, because he's going to look so good against that Dallas Cowboy defense.
Has anyone seen Hard Knocks with McCarthy and his pre-game speeches? And we're going to beat the Cardinals. Like, dude, it's preseason.
I haven't.
He's trying though. He's trying very hard.
He's doing what he's got to do to keep his job.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So that's my pick. That's my thing on Tom Brady. I think he's going to finish within the top 5. Russell Wilson at 6. I get the high ranking. I can't see Russell Wilson finishing that high in the quarterback rankings by the end of the year. Yes, DK Metcalf is all you have to remember, but I mean Tyler Lockett's been on a downward spiral lately. Russell Wilson's getting old. I mean, Justin Herbert, I think he's going to have a brilliant season. His ranking is going to be right about there. I think Tom jumps both of them. And like I said, just the Lamar Jackson thing, I think it's more for me the passing more than it is the rushing for Lamar. You've had a whole year to scheme. Defense quarters had a whole year to scheme on Lamar. And we've always see it when you have that quarterback that comes out, has a great year, and he's a rookie or he's a young guy, you don't know what to expect. But when you have that entire offseason to scheme for him, it tends to be a lot harder. We've seen that happen in the past. I think that happens this year to Lamar Jackson. Don't hate me for that, Gio. I am sorry.
No, I mean, listen, teams will scheme, but I just think the ability to run.
You're right.
And J.K. Dobbins
around him.
He has J.K. Dobbins.
I mean, Dobbins,
Hollywood Browns, Mark Andrews. If he
Yeah, but
gets
Hollywood's not your number one though. He doesn't have a number one wide receiver.
no, yeah. So it's unfortunate that the kid got hurt. I think it's Bateman. So
Yeah.
I mean, they also got Sammy Watkins, which by the way could be a decent week one DraftKings play because for some reason every week one Sammy just explodes and then
Yeah.
at the end of the season do anything. But I think this is a team will continue to run the football, and as long as you run the football very well, the market can just get easy touchdowns.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
He's the
Rudy,
best
real
athlete
quick.
on the team.
I got to. What surprised me a little bit about this is Matthew Stafford, number 13.
Don't piss off Gio this morning.
I
No,
want to see if that's a great rank spot for him.
I think so. I mean, listen, he's not going to kill you with the speed. They're going to throw a lot. Obviously, Cam Akers out for the season, so you have Henderson back there with Xavier Jones. I think that's a perfect fit for him right there. I think, those props for like MVP could be a pretty good one if you can get into that. But I think 13 makes sense. He's not a running quarterback. All the other rushing, well, I mean, Tom Brady's not either, but I think Stafford would fit pretty well at 13. He can go up. He can obviously go down, but I think that sounds just about right.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a bad ranking for Stafford.
No.
Moving on to the back, what is it, back 9 or something? We've
Where's Nate Peterman?
well, Peterman's just missed out on the top 25. We had him at 26.
I
So
don't know.
coming around the second round, last part of the draft for the quarterback rankings here, we see some old familiar names. My boy, who I've been high on since the draft, which I'm not going to be high on anymore after this season. If he
What do you
doesn't
mean?
anything, is sitting at number 23, Daniel Jones.
Did you see that pick he threw that I sent you?
Yes, I did. I did. Hey, Will, so we were talking earlier, you got 2 rookies on this list. Now, the Justin Fields ranking and where he is, I can understand. I mean, I don't care what the Bears coaching staff says. Andy Dalton is not going to be your guy. Justin Fields should take over week 1. Luckily, he was okay after that beheading he had yesterday against the Bills. But I think Justin Fields, right around 19, 20, 21 is fine. The Trey Lance one is kind of a surprise to me. And I know, like Gio said, eventually Trey's probably going to end up taking over for Jimmy G. But having him ranked above a guy, say, like a Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker's got, Odell, he's got Jarvis. He's got weapons there. Austin Hooper's another one. He can do the dump-off passes to Nick Chubb. So why having Trey ranked higher than some of these guys kind of befuddled me. What do you got as far as seeing these 2 rankings for rookie QBs, one of which we don't know when he's going to take over?
I mean, I think he's a running quarterback. He can run. You've seen it in the preseason. I think that's that's high for him, but the sky's the limit. He could be a top 15 quarterback if he gets to play all year long with his running ability. Trey, I'm shocked. I don't see him playing half the year.
Really?
I think Jimmy G stays healthy. I think Jimmy G's going to try to stay somewhat healthy, and they're going to run the football a lot. They do a lot of touch passes, those sweeps, things like that. They may not need Trey Lance for a while. I mean, that's just where I see it. I mean, I think Mayfield, everyone's low on him because it's Cleveland. They don't know when he's going to have his implosion. I mean, just being around town in Cleveland here, it's 50-50. Everyone's super high on him, and then you talk to the realist, and it's like, what's going to happen with OBJ? Is he going to force the ball? Is he going to throw all those picks, or is he going to just do what he did last year and just take care of the ball and pass it and do the dump passes? That's the big thing right now around here. It's what's going to happen? Is he going to force it? Is he not going to force it? Is OBJ going to help the offense, or are they going to try to get rid of him again? I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't. That's where it is up here in Cleveland.
And
Yeah,
Derek
it's hard.
Carr is kind of low.
I think Derek
Yeah,
Carr's perfect.
Derek
I
Carr
think
is
he's low.
You can
He's
understand
very
why
low
Derek
on
Carr-
me.
I mean, we
I
can all
mean-
understand why Derek Carr's low.
he played fairly well. Daniel Jones, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick. When there's expectations on this guy, he seems to falter. So at 16, to me, a little bit high for Fitzpatrick. I think Kirk Cousins. I think he's fairly good too. I mean, some of these guys, if you're in a 2-quarterback league, you probably feel great with any of these. But if you're in a 1-quarterback league and you're starting Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Trey, I want to ask you this as far as the rankings go. If we see one Carson Wentz come back, I mean, he's missing out of the top 25 right now. Where could you see him comfortably ranked if he comes back? Because, again, we talked about the Colts. I mean, they got a running game. They got a good offensive line. The receiving core there, I mean, you're talking Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, Paris. I mean, you've got receivers there. There's no reason why Carson doesn't finish outside of the top 25 because he's not on these rankings.
Oh, if Carson Wentz, now this is a big if. If Carson Wentz can stay healthy and play majority of the season, I can see him cracking the top 12. With with all those weapons around him, he gets back. Remember, he's back with his offensive coordinator that had him in the MVP candidate until he tore his ACL against your Rams on that Sunday night.
It wasn't my fault.
I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying he was the best. As much as I hate to say, because I'm a Cowboy guy, but he was playing the best ball of all. He was under Frank Wright, and then he got injured, and then Nick Foles came in, won the Super Bowl, and I think it messed with his psyche a little bit. So him getting a new spot with his ex-coordinator and reuniting with that, I think with all the, like you said, T.Y. Hilton, Peter, the other wide receivers as well, they have a good run game. I'm just saying he could put up some, and he can also run the ball too. And scramble mode, like everyone's saying, that's good, very good for DraftKings fantasy. I just think that he could easily, if he stays healthy, he can make top 15 to 12 easily.
Yeah, I think.
Could you say that for Fitzpatrick?
No, I couldn't because Fitzpatrick's wildly inaccurate.
But he's got a team around him. He's got a run game.
He's going to have games.
Who's his wide receivers, though? Does he have a great wide receiving core?
They got Terry McLaurin. You have Logan at tight end.
Logan Thomas.
But I see where Trey's going. I mean,
and also Samuels,
the
right?
The receiving core, the Colts receiving core is way better than the Washington football team.
Or I think it's Samuel from Carolina was the guy they signed in the offseason.
Curtis Samuel.
They got listen. Fitz is going to have a game or two where he like 3 or 4 touches. Yeah, so it's.
But then he's also going to have that.
I had the same face in both those guys.
Yeah.
No, me personally, I don't think Carson Wentz is going to stay healthy all year. That's just my person. He hasn't proved it yet. I just don't think he can do it.
After the blockbuster trade I made yesterday, I sure as hell hope.
Hey, where's Jared Goff at?
I ran out of room when it came to Jared Goff. So
I think Jared can have a nice. I think he can have a nice sneaky season. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Jared Goff. After I did the rankings, I said I couldn't put him at number 35 on the list. That's just way too low for Jared Goff.
Well, I mean, for the most part, there's 32 quarterbacks, so at least he's a starter.
Yeah, pretty much. When you have rookies ranked higher than him.
Yeah.
I wanted to, because we are, we do broadcast in Texas country as well. So, I mean, Houston Texans.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Where's Deshaun Watson at?
Exactly. A guy missing is Deshaun Watson. Now, I understand that, he may not play the season for legal troubles or whatever, but I just want to get you guys take real quick here before we move on to our wide receiver rankings. They drafted Davis Mills out of, Stanford. I was pretty high on Mills coming out of the draft. Can Mills be that next guy for the Texans? I mean, from the couple of preseason games that we've seen, I do like his pocket presence. I really like the way he's been playing. But, you're talking Deshaun Watson, you're talking Tyrod Taylor, 2 guys. Tyrod's probably not going to be there the entire year. I don't think. He may, but he's not going to. Eventually, they're not going to start him anymore. But then, of course, if Deshaun doesn't play, does Davis Mills come in and be that guy that the Texans need? I mean, he's not going to be a guy that you're going to draft or anything. But is he the guy that the Houston Texans could rely on? Is what I'm getting at, I guess.
Probably not. I mean, he's just a guy.
I'm just going to say it. David Carr.
Yeah, I would say I could see that.
They don't want a reincarnation of David Carr.
Would you draft Watson, though, if you don't Because
I'll tell you this: I had a draft last night, 16-man draft, and someone took
Terrible
Deshaun
draft.
Watson.
Terrible draft I saw.
It was.
There
okay,
was a
so
kicker.
if he's
Kicker
there
in the
though,
draft.
right, and it's like the last pick, and he's there.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
do you
Yeah, at the
you
last
just take a fly?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're in the last round, say you're going into round 15 and it's the last round and you haven't even drafted a kicker. F it. You take Deshaun Watson, you go get a kicker, week 1. I mean, in fact, the guy behind the glass, Chris Galler, I was helping him on a draft. We were actually both doing a draft. Deshaun Watson was there in the second to last round, and I'm like, you take him. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen to him. He could be traded, and the NFL may be like, okay, well, go ahead. You're going to play, but you're under, if we find this or we find that, whatever, you can, we'll suspend you, whatever. But you go and get a Deshaun Watson, whether he plays or not, just in case. You never know. Same thing to a player that we're going to get into in the wide receiver rankings. I mean, there's going to be in Michael Thomas. I mean, Michael Thomas is going so far down the rabbit hole in drafts that if you've got a late first, like you're not late first, but a late pick in the draft, I mean, and he's there, just go and get him. I mean, it doesn't hurt you. By then, you've got your starters. So the Deshaun Watson thing, yeah, definitely is one. Is there a guy missing on these quarterback lists outside of Watson or Wentz that should be getting some love? I mean, I actually talked to somebody yesterday. Says, well, where are you ranking Jameis Winston? I'm not. I mean, I'm not ranking Jameis Winston. I'm glad he's not on this list. I mean, there's guys out there that we don't have any idea what we're going to get. They're surprising. There's no Denver Bronco on this list. I mean, Teddy B could potentially be a guy finishing in the top 25. I mean,
I will say this. If Wentz can't stay healthy, Ethan Indianapolis, he could top the top 20.
Man, you're high on quarterbacks for Colts, right?
Dude,
Wait, do you mean the backup?
yeah.
From
Jacob
former
Eason.
Bulldog.
Dude, he looked good the first 2 preseason games. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I mean, he could. He could.
He has the weapons.
stretch
He
the
has the
field.
running game. He has the weapons. I'm just saying that could be a surprise pick. You asked for a surprise. I just gave you one. Jeez.
No, I mean,
what do you
yeah,
want?
I-
Jeez. God. Don't act like I'm stupid here.
No. You were the smartest one in the draft last night. So I can be honest about that.
Well,
Trey's going to win that league. I'm pretty sure. Trey's going to win that league. There's no doubt about it. He's going to be the coast-to-coast champion on that league.
I should
So
be.
we got your quarterback rankings here. We're going to move on to wide receiver rankings. This is the fantasy countdown brought to you by Project Spurs and DraftKings. Hey, guys, the season starts here in a few weeks. We got to get you signed up on DraftKings. We're going to give you all the best daily fantasy lineups as possible because, hey, like I said, this is the fantasy countdown where we make fantasy wins a reality. Wide receiver rankings, let's hit it up fast, man. Here we go. Devontae Adams, number 1. Tyreek Hill, 2. Stephon Diggs, my boy, number 3. DeAndre Hopkins. Calvin Ridley. I was a little surprised, but not like shocked at this. AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, Alvin Robinson rounding out the top 10. Let's start, obviously, number 1, Devontae Adams, Green Bay Packers. Ron is back. Can we see massive production again for Devontae Adams? Gio, we're talking, can he top the stats that he had last season in Devontae Adams here with the Green Bay Packers?
I think he could. I mean, he had so many balls thrown at him. It's kind of ridiculous when you watch some of those games from last season. Just the volume's going to be there. They don't really have a second guy, if you really think about it. I mean, they have just a bunch of Jags there. Tanyan's going to be obviously taking some pieces away, but I definitely think he can replicate that. Aaron Rodgers seems to be on a potentially another mission to get to a Super Bowl. Devontae Adams, if he stays healthy, Rudy, he is going to get his targets, and I mean they move him around a lot, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, Will, so I'm kind of sketchy on this right here. And this is one that I kind of thought, well, if I have an option to get him, how early do I get him? But then I kind of hesitate. And it's number 4, DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona. I know Kyler had a good year last year, and we're expecting really big things from Kyler. He's ranked number 3 in our quarterback rankings. But with DeAndre Hopkins, is it something that you have to question whether passing him up for a guy with a better quarterback, say a Calvin Ridley or an AJ Brown with Ryan Tannehill? Kyler's more of a running quarterback. He's a mobile guy. So can we expect some of these guys below DeAndre to kind of creep up above him in the rankings towards the end of the season?
I mean, we had this conversation a couple weeks ago about DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not worried about production. I'm worried about vaccines. I mean, he's very vocal about that on social media and stuff like that. I mean, he's got to get tested daily. I mean, anything that happens with him, he's done. He's out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think his production's going to be there. I think their offense has gotten better. I think they're going to have a better run game. I just think for me, I'm thinking about passing on him in my draft, and I've had him the last 2 years in the same draft, but he does well. But I'm more worried about this vaccine stuff. He seems to be very worried about that kind of stuff than anything else right now. If there was a Calvin Ridley, a Stephon Diggs, a DeAndre Hopkins, I'm always taking D-Hops. But now I might second guess myself, depending. He's in that protocol of guys that has to be tested every day, has to wear a mask, has to do this. I mean, I could see him pulling a Calvin Johnson and stepping away from the league because he doesn't want to put a vaccine in his body.
Yeah, that's the part that I was thinking about too, because I had a feeling like we saw towards the beginning of training camp and all, there was some question whether he even wanted to play, because of everything going on. And that's where I'm at. Like, number 4, yeah, the ranking he deserves top 5 ranking no matter what. But not knowing if you're going to get him for a full season is the scary part. Trey, your boy is sitting at number 13, the highest ranked Cowboy on this list, CeeDee Lamb. Nothing tells me that this isn't deserving of him. What screams out to me is I think we're going to see a ton more production from CeeDee Lamb, where he can inch closer to a top 10. As long as Dak stays healthy, he could inch closer to a top 10 ranking, possibly. Your boy CeeDee Lamb at 13. What kind of production can everybody, I guess, expect from CeeDee Lamb this season?
Oh, man. If you have go get CeeDee Lamb. I'm telling y'all that right now. This guy last year, without Dak Prescott, had over 70 receptions and had over 900 yards receiving. I know that's not a lot, but if you look at their backup quarterbacks and who he had throwing to him, it was horrible. So he had that much production. And if like you're right, Rudy, if Dak Prescott can stay healthy throughout the year, this guy finally, because last year he didn't have a full offseason, right? They just barely had training camp and they just went straight into the season. There's no preseason. He was a rookie last year, and he kind of balled out a little bit. This year, he's having an outstanding camp. He's turning out to be the number 1 wide receiver, and he's wearing number 88 for a reason. If Dak can stay healthy, there's no reason for CeeDee Lamb not to eclipse a lot of those players and get up to the top 10 easily in your fantasy league. I think if Dak Prescott, that's the key. If Dak Prescott can stay healthy, CeeDee Lamb, if you double team, I mean, you can't really double team. It's too quick. He gets in and out of routes real fast. He can get to the slant. He can go over the top of you. He can catch bubble screens. He returns punts, for God's sake. That's how quick this guy is. And he hardly ever drops a ball. CeeDee Lamb, the sky's the limit. I'll look for CeeDee Lamb over 1,600 yards this year, at least receiving.
I can probably see that too. I mean, I definitely can.
Are they going to keep him in the slot?
They're going to move him around a lot. Put him on the outside. Put him in the slot. He's going to move around. He ain't going to just be Amari Cooper on the outside. And that's another thing. You have Amari Cooper on the outside too, and if he stays healthy, he's going to open up. They can't double team both of them. And then you have Michael Gallup as well. The receiving core is, God, it's great if everyone can stay healthy this year. The sky's the limit for this offense, but I think CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver. That's why he's wearing number 88, and I think that he's best wide receiver for the Cowboys, not in the league, the best wide receiver for the Cowboys. And I think that he's I mean, at 900 yards with Ben DiNucci and Mike Cooper Rush throwing to him last year. My God, if Dak Prescott can stay healthy and throw to him, he can have 1,600, 1,700 yards easily, especially with the 17 game.
So let's start an argument here because we're going to bring up a couple of things on these top receiver rankings for this season, 1 through 15. Allen Robinson at 10.
I don't like that.
I think that is pretty high for Robinson, not knowing, what we have in Fields just yet. Knowing that Andy Dalton, probably can't throw it more than 20 yards. I mean, Allen Robinson at 10 really, really had me thinking, is that just too high for Allen Robinson right now? I mean, if you're asking me, I would probably definitely move him down a few notches, but I can't see him at 10.
No, yeah, I think if for my liking because of the quarterback, it's a bit high here for number 10. I would rather have Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown. I mean, I would rather have those guys before really understanding what the Bears are going to do because, I mean, listen, the Red Rifle or whatever you want to call him, he's a serviceable quarterback, but they're not going to sling it down the field. And I know they want to run the football as well. So I think 10's a bit high. I'm not really looking his way per se in drafts just because I'm not sure what to expect. Also, his mental, he didn't get the contract he wanted. So where is he at mentally as well? Though he does need to have a good season to get that contract he likes for next season.
Last year, I watched this guy fall into this draft I was in, and I looked at my buddy that I was with. I was like, is he hurt? What's wrong with him? He just dropped. He fell to like the 8th or 9th round.
Oh, wow.
And look what the year he had last year. And who was his quarterback? Trubisky, Nick Foles, Trubisky, all that turmoil on the offense, and he just produced. I mean, I think he could be a top 10 guy with what he had last year. And, I mean, we all know Justin Fields is going to throw the ball, right? It's probably not going to be Andy Dalton. I mean, I don't mind him at 10. I don't know if I'm going to take him as the 10th wide receiver, but I think production-wise, he's a little unhappy with his situation, but I think he's going to try to produce as best he can to get the contract that he wants, and I think he's going to get out of Chicago. He's got to play good to get out of Chicago.
Yeah, one last guy on the top 15 that I want to get into is someone that Gio knows really well, Robert Woods at number 12. This guy, for me, for the past few years, has been a fantastic pick. I mean, all he does is produce for the Rams. I want to say we're probably looking at another guy that has potentially top 10 receiving numbers towards the end of the season. If I have him available and I'm still seeing like a Robinson or a McLaurin there, I'm probably going to take Woods over him because if you look at the production he had under Jared Goff and you get a gunslinger like Matthew Stafford in to replace Goff, I see nothing but big numbers for Woods as well as Cooper Kupp. But for me, out of both guys, Robert Woods is definitely that guy that I can see finishing in the top 10. Yeah, I mean, real quick on that, Gio, since you are the Ram ambassador, Robert Woods top 10. I mean, that's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not. I will say though, the Rams have added more receivers to that kind of mix. So the fact is, there's a lot of mouths to feed now. You have Deshaun Watson, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Higbee. There's so many guys now that I think top 10 is definitely capable. I just think with so many players now in that offense receiving room, it might take away from Robert Woods. He's going to be very productive, regardless of how many people are there. I just think maybe not just top 10, but definitely within that top 15, top 20 range for a guy that you're going to be drafting probably in those middle rounds anyway.
Well, that's the reason why we see guys like Chris Godwin at 15, Mike Evans lower, because there's just too many mouths to feed in an offense like that. Heading over to the 16 to 30 rankings here. Trey, you've got another one of your boys at the top here. Number 17, Amari Cooper. Again, you would think Amari Cooper would probably be Dallas's number one guy. I have CeeDee Lamb as their number one guy, but Amari sitting at 17. What do we expect from Amari Cooper this year? Again, this is all saying that Dak Prescott stays healthy. I can see Amari possibly finishing, maybe inside the top 15, right around 15 or so, jumping a couple of people. But if, he's going to be the main focus of the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb, is still there, productive, but Amari gets a lot of looks. We could see him jump a little bit higher than the top 15 easily. So Amari Cooper, Dallas Cowboys 17. What do we got for Amari coming into this season?
I mean, you're right, Amari Cooper. It all predicates on Dak being healthy, but at the same time, Amari Cooper is going to have to be healthy as well. Amari Cooper has a nagging foot injury. He started on the year on the PUP list. Didn't play his first preseason game last night. Didn't really look that well running the deep ball to me anyway, but it was just the first preseason game that he played. But if he can stay healthy, you have CeeDee Lamb on the outside, you're going to see a lot of targets go his way. I can definitely see him cracking the top 14, but if he doesn't stay healthy, looking for him to drop out of the top 30. I mean, I honestly think he's perfect to where he is right now, but that nagging foot injury and all the injuries that he occurs every single year, he cannot stay healthy either. Now, he plays through it, but he's just not as productive player as a CeeDee Lamb or any of these other guys on the top 15 in this draft. But a guy to look out for real quick I think Adam Thielen has a chance to be top 15. I know Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball, but this guy catches everything in the red zone. He's a great red zone threat. You can put him in the slot. You can throw him out deep. You can do everything. But I think Adam Thielen has a chance to break the top 15, not even if not the top 12.
Yeah. Hey, Gio, we've got a trio, a massive trio, 24, 25, 28. All three guys out of the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow obviously likes to throw the ball. He gets his boy back in Jamar Chase. Tyler Boyd can put up some big numbers. T. Higgins is going to be, I think, that slot guy that a lot of people are going to want to go for the PPR leagues. Can we see all three of these guys stay within the top 30 by the end of the season? Are we expecting a lot of these guys to have big numbers with Joe coming back? Obviously, the offensive line is the tough part because, I mean, if they can protect Joe, give him time, these guys are going to get open. And this is going to be a really good receiving core. So can we see all three of these guys finish in the top 30? Do we see one guy standing out more where they could possibly finish in the top 20 when it comes to receivers at the end of the season?
Top three or the top 30 have three of them. I think there may be someone a little bit out, but I think very, very possible. I like T. Higgins this year, though. I thought he played very well coming in his own, kind of a bigger dude. Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase, I just think there's going to be guys that have their games. I think 1 week could be T. Higgins for a few weeks, but also be as well as Tyler Boyd, kind of interchanging of who's kind of had that strong point from week to week. But they have a big potential. I like T. Higgins, number one. Number two, I like Chase, and three, Tyler Boyd. But from week to week, if you have them on your lineup, I think you're going to be okay. This is a team, like I said, they're going to throw a lot. They're going to be down in games. Trust me, I'd say about 80% chance they all fit in the top 30 somewhere, whether that's a little bit higher, a little bit lower. But I love T. Higgins this year. Also, Cortland Sutton, he's a bit low, but probably because of injury.
Probably so. And that's where I was going to go to next because we've got the Bronco boy over here and Will Haverland. Boy, you've got two guys, 29 and 30, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. I'm kind of agreeing with Gio. One of these guys is ranked a little too low for my taste. Could be because of the injury. Also, I mean, it could, and this is where I'm trying to get to a lot of people and let them know, look, where they've asked me for some advice fantasy-wise, and how come this guy's so low? How come this guy's so low? You got to remember, it's not a knock on the player. The player is Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, top 20 guys. I mean, easily. But it goes back to quarterback play. I mean, you've got to have the guy that can get them the ball. So as far as Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, do we have any confidence where we can go and draft these guys and feel that we're going to get some production out of them and some really good production out of them based on the quarterback play we hope to see in Denver?
I mean, my confidence is in Jerry Jeudy. I mean, he comes from Alabama, great wide receiver, great footwork, hands. Cortland, I've been high on Cortland since he's been in the league, but he just doesn't stay healthy. He'll have like spurts of 2-3 games where he's the best quarterback receiver in the league, and then all of a sudden he stubs his toe, he's out for a couple weeks, or he just can't catch cold. I mean, it seems like that's the problem in Denver with all their wide receivers. Like all of a sudden they're somebody, and then all of a sudden they fall off the face of the earth. My confidence is in Jerry Jeudy. I think he's second coming of some big names out of Denver, but I mean, I don't know. I think they're in the right spots because every week it's 50 on who the quarterback play is going to be. We're going to have Drew throwing ducks, or we're going to have Teddy doing whatever he's doing. You know, right now it looks like to me it looks like Bridgewater is going to be the starter, but they don't want to say anything.
Really, because I heard Never mind.
Go ahead, Trey.
I heard Drew Lock's gonna be the starter.
Wasn't there an announcement last night or something? Some insider info?
Yeah, some insider said that they haven't announced anything yet, but it looks like Drew Lock's gonna be your number one quarterback on week 1.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, Teddy's
Nothing
gotta get-
official yet, though. Yeah,
Oh.
I feel bad for Jerry Jeudy, man, because this guy has all the talent in the world to be a top 10 wide receiver in this league, but he just has no one to throw it to him, and he can't showcase his.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah,
quarterback
what he
just
can do.
he
That's what he did in Alabama.
So we're gonna throw out some questions here as far as the rankings from 16 to 30 here. Oh God, y'all guys are gonna crucify me, and I hope y'all don't. But if you can get some stellar play out of the quarterback, I think Robbie Anderson is way too low on this list. I mean, I think he has the potential to finish in the top 20 when it comes to wide receivers. I am all in on Robbie Anderson this season. I mean, he just got an extension on his contract. I just think if you get anything out of Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson is going to win you a lot of fantasy games. He's going to have a lot of production. And it's kind of sucks because I traded him yesterday as part of the mega deal that happened on one of my dynasty leagues. Really wanted to keep him, but I couldn't pass up. And we're going to actually get into that trade in a little bit here because I want to get y'all's thoughts on it here. But Robbie Anderson, I think, finishes in the top 20. I can actually say that Brandon Ayuk is another guy who I think can finish within the top 20 on this list. Deebo Samuel's there, but I like Brandon Ayuk a whole lot. Adam Thielen, to me, I agree with Trey. He's pretty much right there, right where the ranking needs to be. You could see him finish the top 15. But one guy I do see, Tyler Lockett, man. I mean, I think he's a little too high on this list.
I agree.
I don't expect a big year from Tyler Lockett. I think it's going to be all DK Metcalf, and that's it. I mean, Russell Wilson found him a brand new receiver. He's got the keys to a Ferrari, and he just traded in his, Corvette. So he's going to just dump everything he can to that new Ferrari, and I think DK is going to be the man. So I think Tyler Lockett's one guy that I'm staying away from as far as wide receivers go. Let's go to the last rankings here for the wide receivers, 31 to 45. This is where you get into the guys where, okay, it's go time. This is where we get these guys that are going to be number 2, possibly number 3 in wide receivers, because a couple leagues you got 3 receivers in a few leagues here. One guy that I think stands out, we'll start with Will here. One guy that I kind of looking at here and I'm thinking I'd love to take a flyer on him is Jalen Waddle out of Miami. I mean, in a PPR type format, which most leagues are PPR format, Jalen Waddle is going to get a lot of your slant routes. He's going to get a lot of catch for you. He's got that breakaway speed that is unlike no other. So Jalen Waddle at 37, do you see him as being a guy that could finish a lot higher just based off of what he can do production-wise?
I think so. I think he's going to be the security blanket to he's going to play the slot. He's going to run that stuff across the middle. I think he's going to be the guy. Mass production, lots of PPR, maybe not a lot of yards.
Oh, I think you're right. I think he's going to be a security blanket for Tua. They go back from Alabama days. That's a security blanket. He feels comfortable with them. I think they're going to have a lot of sets within that system that they did in Alabama. I think Tua's going to actually. I'm one of the guys who think that Tua's going to have a great season this year, and I think that he's actually going to be able to carry this team on the wide receiving core.
Yeah, man, for sure. This is where we get into it, and I'm going to get with Gio on this real quick here. Sitting at number 40, one of the best receivers in past years, and we're going to say it's because of Drew Brees. I mean, Michael Thomas at 40, this is one of those guys we talked about earlier. You have him late in the draft, super late in the draft. You go and get him. I mean, I've seen in a lot of drafts that I've been watching, and these aren't mock drafts, these are actual drafts that I've been watching. I've seen guys still take Michael Thomas as high as 3rd round, 4th round.
Not this year.
I don't buy that.
Or they just don't know that he's not hurt.
Well, not hurt. Also, I mean, he's disgruntled. He doesn't want to be in New York. I mean, Jameis Winston's not going to be able to get him the run all the time. I mean, he's a slant guy, yeah, but again, the production is going to be so terrible for Michael Thomas. I can't see him being drafted in the top. Can we be real? Drafting him in the top 5 rounds is a no. I mean, I could probably go 6 or 7, but top 5 rounds, Michael Thomas shouldn't be drafted at all right now. I mean, where can you see Thomas going?
In the wire.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 7, 8. Someone in these leagues are going to draft him early because they may not even know. It's quite possible they don't know. But definitely in those mid rounds, I'm thinking 8, 7. It depends, though. I mean, the quarterback situation there is just I prefer Jameis. I'll feel more comfortable if Jameis Winston's back there slinging it than if it's the other one. So, sure. I mean,
if you're in a rebuilding process like New Orleans is, I mean, let's be real, they're rebuilding. I mean, the only asset they have there, I mean, they got an okay defense, but then you have Alvin Kamara. I mean, okay, Kamara's your biggest asset there. Is this a situation where, and again, I'm just throwing everything at the wall because I want to see what actually sticks. You went out and you got an Ian Book, right, out of Notre Dame. I mean, this is a guy, if you have to give the keys to, do you give the keys to Ian Book out of Notre Dame at quarterback?
No, Rudy, it's gonna be somebody else.
Yeah, we got some nice organ playing in the background. Yeah, I mean,
Rudy, you forgot that guy in New Orleans. Troutman, man. That's their key to winning. You've already said times.
Yeah, that's what Rudy did say. So,
he's the security blanket. He's the security blanket.
Did you put any prop bets for him?
Huh?
Have you put any prop bets on DraftKings for him?
I have not. I have not at all. We'll get into some more prop bets here. Real quick, he's got to go, so he's going to be exiting the show right now. But you know what we're looking at the rankings. I mean, yeah, Michael Thomas. The one guy that I think stands out here when he comes back from being suspended, if he does, is Will Fuller. I mean, they got a deep threat there for Miami.
Oh yeah.
I like Jacoby Myers in New England. I think he can put up some decent numbers for you. But outside of that, I mean, I think these rankings are good. You want to take a flyer on a rookie. I mean, Devontae Smith, you can definitely take a flyer on him with Jalen Hurts out there. Odell Beckham being at number 33. I mean, again, you know, you're not seeing a Jarvis Landry on the list. There's some guys that
Curtis Samuel, I think, could be a little higher.
You really think he could be? I think he could be higher too. I mean, I really do.
I think they're going to be able to use him pretty well, along with Terry, because Terry hasn't had another receiver there. You finally add someone there to the mix to kind of draw some coverage away. I think Curtis can be a nice value.
Yeah. So we're going to get into something real quick here, and this is we covered the wide receivers and the quarterbacks. And yesterday, I made a trade in Dynasty, which is actually Kev's Dynasty League, Gio, the podcast, whatever it is, the Dynasty League that he started a while back. So let me give you a little bit of my lineup here. I'll show you a little bit of my lineup. So I already had Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Myles Gaskin, Jerry Jeudy. And these are guys that I've had already. I drafted them in the very first draft that we had. Jerry Jeudy and Justin Jefferson were the guys that I picked up in our rookie draft in the past season. So I get an offer yesterday. People want, because I also had Ryan Tannehill as well. So people were like, I want Ryan Tannehill. I also had Robbie Anderson, Cole Kmet. I have James Conner, David Johnson. I had a pretty decent lineup, put it that way. Get an offer. These guys says, I want Robbie Anderson and I want Ryan Tannehill. I said, okay. The where I'm lacking is my tight end position. I have Robert Tonyan, Jonnu Smith, and Cole Kmet. Those are my 3 tight ends. So let me share the screen here because I think
Cole could have a pretty good year, though.
Huh?
I think Cole Kmet with the Bears could have a pretty decent season.
Yeah, if you can't really say it, I'm sorry. But basically, this is the deal. I traded Ryan Tannehill, Robbie Anderson, Cole Kmet, James Conner, my 2022 first-round pick, and my 2023 second-round pick. In return, I got Carson Wentz, George Kittle, Aaron Jones, and the 2023 third-round pick. So, 1 second here. Got a cough in the morning. So this brings my lineup right here. My starting lineup is going to be Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, George Kittle, Cooper Kupp, and Myles Gaskin. I still have David Johnson, AJ Green, Jerry Jeudy on the bench. Got me a Derek Carr. Still have Robert Tonyan. Michael Carter was my pick this year, along with Kadarius Toney and Joshua Palmer. When it got me a Xavier Jones, like we've been talking about. That kind of trade right there. I don't need any help on the 2022 draft as far as rookies are concerned. It's something like that. Where did I get value in that draft? Because I'm trying to show people how you want to make some trades if you get offers. So in a dynasty league, what kind of value did I get? Did I get great value? Did I make my team better? And me personally, I was really weak at the tight end position. I went and got one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. Not only that, I pretty much solidified my backfield by grabbing an Aaron Jones and not giving anybody up but a James Conner. I gave away a 2022 first-round pick, but when you see the guys here, Derrick Henry, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, I don't need anything from the 2022 draft in the first round. So, guys, give me some info on this draft trade. How does it look overall for both teams?
Well, I think it's pretty good. I mean, for you, the other guy, it's just interesting. You know, Aaron Jones is one of those guys that we expect to have a pretty good season. George Kittle, obviously. I mean, really, your team looks pretty good in my book. You got one of the best tight ends in the league. I think you're sitting pretty comfortably. I mean, next season, could there be a really breakout guy? Sure, why not? But I think overall, you probably got your first-round pick already for next season on this team. So,
considering next season, you're probably looking at a wide receiver or a quarterback like Sam Howell, maybe a Spencer Rattler coming out.
yeah.
But I've already got Patrick Mahomes, so it's like I won't need a quarterback for
you won't need a
while.
quarterback for a hot minute.
Yeah. I mean, Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson, again, not going to need a QB for a wide receiver for a while.
But your bench,
Derrick
they have so many like your bench, like they have a lot of spots. They should have also some more starters on there at least. I don't know. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I still got an empty spot on the bench that I've got to fill. But, I think that was a decent trade. The Myles Gaskin, I think, is going to be one of those guys that is going to actually have a better year than most people think. Well, I do have your boy Jerry Jeudy, and I'm going to ride him on the pine for a while until he gets things. But I think later on he might be a really good asset. I've already been asked to trade Jerry Jeudy to people, but I think I can maybe get
I was going to say,
draft picks for him if need be.
I was going to say, you ride the pine with him and see what he does, and you probably be able to trade him. I mean, I'd keep him, but depending on what they're offering, you can't go wrong with draft picks in Dynasty League, whether you need them or not.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. So that's what I wanted to ask you guys as far as that is concerned. Man, we've tackled everything today. Last week we tackled the running backs, tight end position. This week we tackled wide receivers and quarterbacks. We're not going to get into kickers as much as we need to, and we need to cover kickers.
Disrespecting the kickers, huh?
We always disrespect the kickers. Defensive-wise, we can definitely do something on the defensive side. But I want to ask you guys real quick before we go, for next week's show, do you guys want to do an online draft and see where we fall on picks and everything?
Yeah.
I can definitely set it up. We'll do us and Trey, and I'll get a couple other people, see if they want to jump in. We can do an online draft here at the Fantasy Countdown. We're going to give away all of our secrets, basically. So, I mean, I've got 5 drafts already next week. I've got 3 next Monday, and then the rest are Labor Day weekend. So,
got a lot of money on the line, Rudy.
I'm sitting at 15 drafts right now. So, not happy about that.
You're a better man.
Full-time job.
You're a better man than me, Rudy, because 15 would be that's really cutting it right there to manage. Because think about it, when you're doing the waiver wire for each league, it's like you might forget.
Well, I rake them. My
okay,
my highest Highest entry league
Yeah, I do the same.
right now, it's at about 400. So I'm just kind of splitting that with somebody. Then I go down to
I'm sure
$200,
Gina's happy.
$100 league, stuff like that. Gina don't know, but she will know when she
Oh,
finds it.
okay. Sorry, Rudy.
Just don't tag her on anything. That would be a good thing. So, but yeah, we'll do a mock. Well, not a mock draft. We'll do an actual draft. We have the sweep the league that's already full. Basically, that draft is coming up on.
Did I get an
we're
invite
like-
to that?
Yeah, you should have got your invite. I think we have an opening, so we'll invite probably Will into that.
Wait, is that a reactivated league?
Yes, it's a reactivate.
Okay.
It's the one that we've been having year in, year out. So,
Sorry.
and actually, what's weird is Gina was in the league the first year. That was the one that she won, and I'm like, man, she retired a champion, but I think she's coming back this season to claim her victory or her victory spot or whatever. But yeah, we'll get all that going here pretty soon. We'll have a draft next week, and we'll see. We'll give you all of our secrets next week, and hopefully you can use them to win your draft, your fantasy league. But I feel in a league like this that we're going to do a kind of like a draft for everybody. It's going to be a really good one. We may see Gio take a kicker in round 5, like last time the Coast to Coast Network.
Listen, I don't take kickers.
Yeah.
I might if it's interesting, but defenses I tend to stream week to week. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
I mean, unless you got a really good defense in there towards the
You
end.
really should be streaming though, in my opinion, defense. I mean, unless you have like a really dominant defense, but I think streaming, because you'll get some weird matchups that don't make sense, but it's just kind of feels like a nice spot. So definitely stream defenses. I don't draft a defense normally until maybe at the end. If I have to, I think it tell you that you have to draft the defense, but
Yeah. I got you. Well, guys, this was the Fantasy Countdown brought to you by Project Spurs and DraftKings. We went ahead and we went over the wide receiver rankings, quarterback rankings. Again, these rankings are compiled by ESPN.com, CBSSports.com, and also NFL.com. So where you see them ranked, it's not necessarily our rankings in general. It's just the consensus of all three of the websites. So don't hate us for the rankings. If you're going to hate anybody, hate me, because Gio tends to hate me because he says
Hey,
they're
you
my
know-
rankings. They're really not.
we're being sponsored. Are we getting any free stuff?
We'll see. That was the yeah. Just so everybody know, we'll make a more formal announcement, but looks like the Fantasy Countdown and Sweep the League podcast is being picked up by another network along with Project Spurs, or it's in partnership with Project Spurs. So all news is going to be coming out hopefully this weekend or this week. We'll be starting all that September 1st. But we'll be promoting a lot for DraftKings as well because, well, I know we all use DraftKings and I use FanDuel as well, but DraftKings is going to be the main focus on us here. So we'll give you some DraftKings lineups to do every single week. But yeah, big announcements coming for Sweep the League Network in general, man. We've got a lot of stuff coming out. But again, this was the Fantasy Countdown. We're live every single Sunday from 10 to 11 here across social media. We had problems today with the Facebook stream. I'm going to have to test that out here later. Not too sure why. But we were live on Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So if you need to catch the show, catch us on either one of those. I'll share it out to the Facebook page here in a little bit. But for Trey Collis, who had to leave early today, Will Haverland, Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr., this was the Fantasy Countdown. Till next week when we have our live draft, we're going to share all of our secrets, show you guys how to draft, see where you don't want to screw up. I feel like Gio might screw up somewhere in there. It just tends to happen.
I mean, I'm a little unorthodox with my picks sometimes, but normally it works out pretty decent.
I think he's going to take the Rams D in round 3. He's just so much in love with the Rams that
No,
it's a must.
defenses are going to be late. Third round, I don't know. Depends if I'm in the beginning or late.
You heard it here first, man. Gio's going to take a defense in the third. We'll see how true he stays to
The
his word.
Atlanta
So-
Falcons, I'm taking.
Oh, God. Stay away from every Falcon except
okay.
Kyle Pitts. Maybe Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, too. But for, like I said, for Will Haverland, Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr., Trey Collis, as well as Austin Hartsfield, who hopefully should be joining us again very, very soon. This was the Fantasy Countdown. We'll see you